Did you have so much fun?
Yes. I put my head in the toilet.
What'd you do?
I ate chocolate out of a toilet.
You ate chocolate out of a toilet?
Yeah.
What? Logan. All right, come on.
Welcome to Hot Marriage Cool Parents.
Welcome back.
It is a little chaotic right now because our dog is going crazy. So if you hear her barking, then
She saw a dog outside.
I don't know if anyone else has a dog, but our dog is about maybe 10 pounds. And you see like any size dog, it could be like a freaking Rottweiler. And she goes on the attack. And I'm like,
she does not make friends at all.
And I'm like, that dog could eat you alive.
Yeah.
You better back down. Back down. She doesn't get it. She never backs down. I like her confidence.
Yeah. You know, I used to be scared of small dogs.
I think I'm more scared of small dogs than I am large dogs.
Yeah, there was a little Yorkshire Terrier it was behind my friend Tim's house, and it was within when everybody used to ride bicycles. And I remember going
back when people used to actually ride their bike around the neighborhood.
I mean, that's all we did was ride bicycles.
I did that too as a kid.
A side story too, we had one friend that we didn't necessarily always like to hang out with.
Mean?
And whenever he would come around, we would all have bikes, and he didn't really have a good bike, and we would ride away.
This is a terrible story. That's awful, Doug.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't a lot, but he went out and bought a professional bicycle, racing bike, and we were never able to outrun him ever again.
Yeah.
And he kept up.
That's
but yeah,
right.
a little dog chased me down the street one time, and I remember screaming like a little girl. And the dog was friendly, it turned out. Like, it wouldn't have done anything, but it was just chasing after me on a bicycle. And I had a really, really high voice when I was younger. And it was very feminine, and I was screaming. I remember screaming down the road. It was my Huffy Nevada. So
I had a Huffy too. Those were the cool, banana boat, banana seat is what they were called. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like a long seat, so you could have someone ride behind you.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That's actually one good memory I have with my stepdad, which I don't have a whole lot of them.
A banana seat?
Well, no, I just don't have a whole lot of memories, like good ones anyways, with my stepdad. But that's one. I remember it was my birthday, and my mom said that I got to go to the bike. There was a bike shop, and it was all used bikes that had been fixed, and then he would sell again. And I got to pick out any bike I wanted, which is a huge thing.
Wow.
I mean, we didn't get anything half the time. So I shouldn't say didn't get anything half the time, because my mom always tried, but that was a big deal. That was a really big deal. And I have a vivid memory of going, and this is the thing of my stepdad, I never felt safe or secure around him, especially when we were alone. We were never really ever alone. My mom had 5 kids, and I was glued to my mom. I was a mommy's girl, through and through. And obviously having some situations with my stepdad where he was very scary and abusive and all that jazz, it made me scared to be around him alone. So I remember going to the bike shop and being half so excited. Don't say Jesus. Don't say the Lord's name in vain.
I said, "Jeez Christ."
Okay. But I remember being half excited, of course, because I'm getting a bike and that's awesome. And then also kind of ooh, I hope I don't make him mad, because I don't know what's going to happen. But anyways, random. How did we even get on this topic?
Were you ever able to ride a bike with no hands?
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to ride my bike around. We lived in a trailer park that was a circle at the time. And I would, there was you'd go up the hill, and then you would go down the hill. And so once I got up the hill, then I could go down the hill and have momentum, and I could be real cool with no hands, Yeah,
real cool,
and avoid it was a dirt road, so avoid the pothole after pothole, because then you're gonna be thrown off the bike. But funny. I figured it out. It was a circle, and there was a cluster of mailboxes at the very entrance of the circle,
right?
And that was kind of the setup of it. So, but today I was hoping to honor 2 of my friends.
Well, before you go into that, I think we should probably give one of our 5-star reviewers a shout out. We love your reviews and your comments, and this one is from Happy. Love is genuine. Her name's Nicole. Doug and Jamie, I have been a fan of y'all since MAFS. I am so glad you guys are back doing this podcast. It is one of my faves to listen to, and I have missed y'all so much. I love y'all and your cute little fam, Nicole Am.
Thank you, Nicole. That's
Yeah.
so sweet.
Speaking about our cute little fam, last week we talked about Hendrix and his bedtime struggles.
Oh my gosh, we have really great news to share with you.
And, it hasn't been immediate, but we did put an incentive program available
We have
for the
started
children.
bribing our children.
Yes. And the rule is if you stay in your bed all night, and which is really if mommy and daddy wake up and you're not in our bed, then you get to pick a prize out of the Paw Patrol box.
Yes. So
And we have a big Paw Patrol box with a bunch of Paw Patrol stuff in it and
like dollar store
plethora of
stuff.
stuff from the dollar store.
Yeah, we got a ton of stuff. I let Hendrix pick out. So we did this whole incentive box thing for them sleeping in their bed all night because like we're exhausted.
We were
from
at
them.
wit's end.
I mean, I felt like it was like having newborns and they're 3 and 6. I'm like, this is and we're trying to have a baby. So I'm like, how is this going to work when there is a newborn? Or I'm like 9 months pregnant trying to get sleep then, like so.
I mean, Hendrix fights going to sleep from 8 o'clock
to like 10
to 10. Yeah.
And he's 3 and like that's way too late to be staying up because then he has to get up to go to like daycare essentially during the day and we're all exhausted. So needless to say, we started this. My friend Teresa from actually middle school, she was like, have you ever watched The Nanny, The Super Nanny or something like that? And because we're in a book club together and I was like, I mean, I've heard of it, of course. I mean, who hasn't heard of the nanny show, the Super Nanny show? And she said, well, I saw, or maybe it was Teen Mom. It was one or the other. It was like one of those shows. And she said, I saw that they were having the same struggle with their kids and they got this box and they let the little girl like decorate it and make it really fun. And she filled it with things that she wanted. And then if she slept in her bed all night long, then she would be able to get one of the treats from this fancy box. And I was like, well, we have this Paw Patrol box. And my kids like, Paw Patrol?
Let's see if this will work.
Yeah. And so I was like, listen, if you stay in your bed all night long, you get to get a prize from the Paw Patrol box. And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked for like 2 or 3 nights, but then it stopped. And
Hendrix still struggles going to sleep. And I don't know. I think he's getting better.
No, he's definitely getting better.
Yeah. Because, I ended up, we both started watching it was a course on kids.
Taking care of babies.
Yeah, taking Karen babies or something like that. Cara babies.
Yeah.
But she has a whole section on sleeping. And it's, if your child needs you to stay there for a little bit or you set expectations, we're going to cuddle, we're going to read a book, we're going to cuddle for a minute, then I'm going to put you in your bed, I'll stay with you for a minute, and then I'm going to go. That doesn't always work with Hendrix. I mean, I still do it. But then I started setting a timer because he needs me to be by the door for a certain amount of time when I put him down. And then usually that'll be my time to just do the kitchen and the dishes and put everything away before we wake up. And, he's been going to bed at that time, but he's been horrible.
Yeah. But so the idea is that if you're having a little one struggle with sleeping and you're okay with bribing your child, I am not too proud to say that I definitely am okay with that. We got the box and we had the presents, but then when the presents stopped seeming cool, they just were like, I don't care. I don't want anything from that box anyways. And they would just come into our bed. So I was on Instagram and like usual, I always reach out to my girlfriends there. And I just had this, someone said something about make sure the prizes are, awesome. And I was like, oh, good idea. It didn't even click to me. They didn't care about the prize. Of course I didn't. And so I was like, Hendrix, we're going to go to the dollar store on a mommy and son date. And he got all spiffied up. He looked so cute. If you saw my Instagram post, you probably saw. But he looked all spiffied up and cute. And we went to the dollar store on a date and he got to pick everything he wanted. And I'm like, wow, this is one store I can shop and my kids can pick what they want. And I don't have to be like, that's too expensive, put it back. I could just be like, go ahead, throw it in the cart. It's $1.25. And so he picked a lot of things and we got them all. They got so excited over these dollar store things. I mean, Henley was like, I can't wait. Tomorrow I'm going to get get this squishy blue thing. And I was like, okay, you go to sleep and you'll get that. And then I'm like dumbfounded over here. So if you're a struggling, and this is the thing is that I feel like we did sleep training when they were babies, and that's a whole different story. So, it's a whole different ball game. It's way easier, if you ask me, to do it when
Hendrix regressed.
Well, it's way easier to sleep train when they're babies because they don't crawl out of the crib. And so now I'm like, how do you sleep train a toddler and a little girl when they can literally just walk out of their bed over and over and over again? And it was kind of, and also like they're a little more manipulative with their they'll be like, I need you, like they talk, and so I need you and I want you. And I'm
Hendrix will be,
I need you and I want you too.
I'm thirsty. I have to go potty. And now he's learned that once he goes potty, if he tells me that he's not done yet, then he can stay on the potty longer.
Yeah. And if you can't tell, Doug usually, we're really I feel like we're a divided house when it comes to bedtime. Like Henley, and I always have Henley and he always has Hendrix. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I really want to change because I feel like you need time with Henley and I need more time with Hendrix, which is why I took that mommy Sunday.
I have time with Henley.
I know, but
because sometimes I'll do both.
I know, but this is the thing is that I feel like
Henley puts herself to sleep now. It's great.
Yeah, she really does. So we say if she wants to get a prize out of that Paw Patrol box, that she has to. I'll read the book with her and I'll cuddle with her for just a minute. And then, she has to roll over. And that's the biggest thing that we took away from this taking care of babies course was, and we didn't get through the whole thing. That's the one thing I actually wanted to say as well, is that I remember way back when I was sleep training Henley and there's all these courses out there and there's books and there's research and all this stuff. And I was like, I'm so busy. I don't have time, to spend even a day researching this. Can you just give me the what's it called? The
Cliff Notes?
Cliff Notes. Yeah. Can you give me the Cliff Notes? Because I don't have time for this, as exhausting as it is. And
Putting kids to sleep for dummies.
Yeah. And so I ended up sharing on my blog this is back when I was blogging 5 years ago. I shared on my blog exactly how I put her to sleep and how I trained her. I read the book. I can't remember which book it was, Dr. Ferber, I think. And I gave kind of the Cliff Notes, and it was a free version too. If you're having trouble, this is what worked for me. Try it before you buy something else. And so that's I think I want to do something similar to that because I feel like us mamas got to stick together and everything kind of costs money and takes forever and I'm we got to be able to share resources and provide resources if we're able to that are, and of course, it doesn't always work, which is why we went to taking care of babies course because and she is worth her weight in gold because she has a plethora of knowledge there. So needless to say though, I'm going to give a Cliff Notes version for what's worked for us anyways. And honestly, essentially it's all right here on the podcast. We got I would say decorate a nice box, make anything that's super fun and cute for your child, take them to the dollar store. It doesn't have to cost a lot. Or if you have a higher budget than we do, take them to Target or wherever and let them pick out a few really great prizes. And this is the tip though.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah. But this is the tip. The most important part about it is that it has to be something that they really, really like and that they cannot have unless they actually follow through. And that you also as the parent kind of lay down the ground rules right from the get-go. So you would say something like, okay, tonight, honey, I want you, we're going to go shopping and we're going to fill. So this is how you start, wait, back it up. You get the box, you decorate it, or you already have a box and you're just this is our cool box and this is your treasure chest and we're going to fill it with all of your favorite things. And then you're going to explain but you can't get the things yet. You have to earn these things. And they're going to be because they're kids, at least our kids were like that. And if you hear our kids in the background, they're with
this
Miss
dog
Ruth,
is killing me.
And our dog is going crazy. This is
I'm so angry.
It's literally this is
so
our life in a nutshell.
Yeah, we snuck away to do the podcast and it's exactly when this dog decides to wake up.
Yeah, but okay. So
Anyway.
back to our thing. So you have your box, and then you take a trip to the dollar store, and you let them pick whatever, however many. Maybe you would want like 7 items for 1 week, or however you want to do it. Now, listen. This is the other thing: is that kids, especially ages 3 and 6, they like instant gratification. So I learned this from Miss Ruth, who is a previous school teacher, and Miss Sylvia, who
And so do husbands.
and. Yeah, no matter how old they are.
Doesn't matter how old people
They
are.
like instant gratification too. But so like you don't want to like, so, cause what I had with Henley, which is, now I look back and I'm like, oh, cute try, mom. But I had this whole chore chart, and every single day she would have to do like, make her bed, put her clothes in dirty laundry, all that jazz.
It lasted a couple days.
It did last a couple days, but it wasn't instant gratification. So it was like at the end of the week, then we would go to and then the prize was go to the dollar store and get one prize. I mean, this should be an ad for the dollar store at this
Seriously.
point. But
wait, before I just want to say how proud I am of her because, and this is a side note, but talk about like saving money, and because both kids have a piggy bank. Henley has a book fair tomorrow, and her immediate thought was to get home, get her piggy bank, dump it into a Ziploc bag, and say, I want to bring this to buy a book at the book fair.
She was so excited. She was like, Mommy, tomorrow's the book fair.
I was so proud of her.
I mean, she's really starting to understand the concept of money and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so that's a whole other topic. And
She
actually
didn't ask us at all. It was like she put it in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, she was like,
buy her own
well, that's
books.
because that's hers. She is allowed to use that money. But back, Doug, you
Go ahead,
interrupted totally,
Yeah.
but that was an exciting story. But I'm trying to share like the Cliff Notes version of what's really working for sleep training for a 3 and a 6-year-old. And I would say it is instant gratification. So like I was doing the chore chart, and I was giving, I was having her do her things every single day. And then at the end of the week, she'd get a prize. That's not good enough for a child who's 3 or 6. I mean, that's like takes way too long for her to get her prize and to feel like instant gratification. So instead, it's like when you're doing the sleep training, or when you're doing anything really, and you're trying to, it sounds like a dog really, but I mean, it's a child, and you're trying to reward good behavior. So we got our box, we filled it with all the things that we wanted. And then it was like, we have to talk to them and lay down clear expectations. Even at 3 years old, Hendrix can understand. So we say, I love you. And, mommy and daddy are going to sleep in our bed. This is our bed. This is your bed. And this is, then Henley, this is your bed. And you guys are going to stay in your bed all night long. And now if you stay in your bed all night long, then in the morning, you can come out and you can pick out any toy that you want. Anything you want out of this box. And how you get them hyped up, if they're starting to lose interest, which let me tell you, that happens like 2 or 3 nights in. If they start to lose interest, obviously take them back and make sure that they're picking out like the prizes that they want themselves. But also, the other thing I was going to say was you want to make sure that what you're saying. So instead of just saying in the morning, you can come in. I learned this the hard way. I was like, oh yeah, you got to go to sleep. And then in the morning you come in. Well, they don't know what morning is. Like they don't have a concept of time necessarily yet.
It's still a little bit dark out when they wake up.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is, a lot of people have recommended to me, which I don't have yet, but I'm absolutely going to get one of those either
stoplight.
No, like a hatch. It's called a hatch. Hendrix actually has it. Somehow you can connect an app to it or something, and it can change the light. There's also, I know for Fisher Price, they had like this bunny that I got Henley.
Yeah, we had one of those things.
Yeah, we still do somewheres like forever ago, and it's like it turns a certain color when they can, when it's morning and they can get out of their bed.
Yeah,
and
you can set a timer to it where when they hold it, it turns a certain color.
Yeah.
and lets them know when it's okay to come out of their room.
So we have the box of the prizes. We have our clear expectations. We have the light, so they know when they can get out. And then it's, and this is it's really, really hard, especially if you have more than one child and you're doing this with 2 children like we are. But first of all, I want to say it's possible and it is so worth it. But one child might stay in the bed like all night and the other doesn't. And it's really important. I think that one thing, I saw this like from a motivational speaker, that parents nowadays, like we tend to be very gentle on our children. We really believe in gentle parenting. We were all raised like with like a whip, do it, or I'm, my word is the word, and do what I say, not what I do, and all that kind of thing. And so now we're like really embracing this gentle parenting philosophy, but we don't want to go too far over the edge because kids love structure. They love boundaries. They love knowing that you're in control. Like they don't they will try to be in control. They think they want to be in control, but they don't feel safe when they're in control. So it's very, very important for us to hold our boundaries and to have the structure. And so another great tip I think that I learned is to keep like the routine. I mean, we have kept our routine very much the same. Like since both of them are babies, we have dinner together, we have bath, we read a book. Now we have to incorporate homework. Henley tends to do her homework also during that time.
And Hendrix just pretends he has homework and
and scribbles
writes
on
lines on the paper.
Really cute. Like we'll have to get him his quote unquote homework.
And he'll yell at me if I try to take him away from his homework too early.
Yeah, he'll say that
I have homework.
Yeah, it's very, very sweet. But yeah, so then you have the same routine. And I don't know, I just wanted to share the kind of like a Cliff Notes version of what's working for us so that you don't have to pay for a huge guide. Who knows if this works for you? I mean, this is working for us. So if it works for you, it could save you some money, save you a whole lot of stress, and help your kids become independent sleepers. And there's a whole lot of studies kind of showing, and I am all about co-sleep or have your kids sleep independently. Either way, whatever works for your family is in however you get the best night's sleep. And that changes too in a family. So at one point, co-sleeping really was how we were getting the best sleep. Like Hendrix slept great in his bed. Henley just happened to be in ours all the time. And we were sleeping, like it was fine.
I hate it.
We didn't have a good intimate life, like while trying to conceive.
Since the beginning.
We would have
I've
to
always been against it.
Sneak away. And it's been all sorts of different things. Doug's never loved it, but I've always loved it. I love cuddling with them. But now we're at the point where they're both trying to be in our bed. They're big kids kicking us, tossing and turning. And it is just, no one is getting any sleep.
No.
And so it's not that we're against co-parent or co-sleeping or
I am.
Well, he is, but it's not that I am.
I am 100%.
And I plan on actually co-sleeping with the next baby. I feel like when they're a baby into the first year, I just personally really enjoy it. I did that with Hendrix and I absolutely loved it. But needless to say, this is obviously not medical advice. And just because I'm a nurse, don't take this as medical advice.
One takeaway that I found was how to, because Hendrix sort of has this one-track mind and will throw temper tantrums and everything. So I forget what the letters were, but the first one is get down on their level, talk to them on their level.
Yeah, stay calm.
Yeah, you want to be the thermometer. You don't want to match the temperature.
You want to be cool, maybe?
Yeah.
Is what you meant to say?
Yeah. So if they're, even as much as they're being inconsolable or incoherent or not making any sense, you keep your head, validate their feelings. Okay. Tell them that it's okay to have those feelings. Stand your ground. Your word is as good as gold. And then the way to deflect from there is to, like, if, for example, you take your kid from the playground and they throw a fit leaving the playground, you say, we're going to leave the playground now, but we can come back tomorrow or the next day. When would you want to come back? And that sort of trains their mind to think, because from a kid's point of view, you're taking them away from something where they think it's the last time they're ever going to do that thing or last time they're ever going to have fun. And I've started doing that with Hendrix, where it's just like, you can pick out something from the Paw Patrol box, and that whole incentive things works. But then once he starts to flip out, I've been really trying to keep my cool and not match his temperature.
You're doing a lot better.
Yeah, and right now I'm setting a timer of standing in the doorway.
Oh yeah, and timers work great. So like if your child is used to you being in their bed like ours were, or if your child wants you in the room, and that's obviously not possible. Right. So another big...
You just reduce the amount of time
exactly.
each time.
And you get yourself further and further away. It doesn't have to be cold turkey. It doesn't have to be like all or nothing. And so, we started out in their beds and then we started out in a chair next to them.
It would take 45 minutes for bedtime from me.
Oh my gosh. It would sometimes take 2 hours. Are you kidding
I would
me?
rub his back until he was pretty much asleep. And yeah.
And same thing for Henley. I mean, I would have to be in there the whole entire time until she was asleep. And so we would listen to sleep stories. We would read books. I would tell her a story. We would pray. We would say what we're thankful for. I mean, she would do a flip and I'm like, why are you flipping when it's time for bed? Like lay down. And like, so you're trying to stay calm, but you're like, lay down. And all of that has kind of disappeared when you let your child put themselves to sleep. I mean, there's really, I always thought co-sleeping, it's just like comforting and cozy, and it truly is. But there's such an advantage. There's pros and cons to everything, and there's such an advantage to letting your child have independent sleeping. So
it got to the point where Jamie and I were in separate rooms, and we were not doing anything other than putting the kids to bed from like 8:15 till 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
like we were in their
every
rooms.
Single night.
And like that whole time frame was just shot for us because there was nothing else that could happen other than putting them to bed.
Yeah. So when most parents
we were giving in to them the whole time, and I didn't think
we were
anything
wanting to love
of
them.
It. Yeah, I didn't think anything of it until Jamie started saying, like, no, this is not right.
I mean, yeah, because I'm like,
it sort of clicked. I was like, yeah, we're giving up our entire night.
Every single night. Like most parents put their kids to bed between 7 and 8 o'clock.
And they're done.
And then that's it. And then they get a couple hours to like decompress. And then they go to bed between 10 and 11 and they get up and they do it all over again.
And you want two more, which means we're going through another 10 years of this.
Well, no, because next time we're going to be smarter. We've already learned our lesson with Henley and Hendrix.
Time
no, we've learned.
Henley.
We learned our.
We started this way too late.
No, Doug, that's the thing though.
Training.
I sleep trained Henley when she was a baby. We didn't have this problem until we moved to Florida and she wasn't in her crib anymore. And then she was just in our bed. We never had this problem with Henley because I did the sleep training thing with her. And that was back when you were like working. And so you weren't really even part of that. So you probably don't remember that very well because I was just trying to do so you could sleep. But anyways, needless to say, I hope that helps you. And also, regardless, I'm going to share the Taking Care of Babies website below because I can't tell you how many people recommended her, and we have the course. We really like it. I have to give you a disclaimer that it is like you got to clear your schedule for it and grab a notebook because it's a lot of information.
Yeah.
But
there's printouts and stuff. I mean, you can.
Yeah, no, that's true.
It keeps track of the lessons that you do, and
but it's worth its weight in gold because first of all, you have it. I think you have it forever. I'm pretty sure you have it forever, and it's. I mean, I don't know what your problem could be, but she probably tackles it. And if not, you can they have a great support system over there. So like you can DM them on Instagram, you can reach out,
schedule an appointment with her.
I mean, you can literally, it's pretty remarkable. So I wanted to be able to give you, I don't know, a Cliff Notes version and try to help you out like a freebie way so that, I'm all about that. Like try to tackle it yourself first with all the resources and information that you have. And then if you don't get there, then take the course. Yeah. And we didn't
and
get
Taking
there.
Care of Babies, if we butchered your entire lesson plan, sorry.
Yeah, well, oh yeah. By the way, I do not say that that's what I learned from her because I actually learned that mostly just from Instagram, like moms that that follow me.
Yeah, thank you for sending those.
Yeah, all you moms who follow me who've done this before, thank you for sending me. Well, first of all, they sent me Taking Care of Babies, which is how I learned. Like we learned your word is good as gold, and we learned a lot of valuable tips from the time that from the part of the courses that we took. But she doesn't necessarily say that's just like other moms that have told me. And like my friend from middle school said she saw it on like Super Nanny or The Teen Mom or something like that show. But it's actually really working with our children. And so,
that's all they talk about is the Paw Patrol box.
Yeah. For us, it's a Paw Patrol box, but some people it's like a mermaid box or it's just a box with gold on it. It could be a treasure chest, like whatever it is. And what's inside is things that they really want and they're really excited about and they're looking forward to. And honestly, their sense of pride when they wake up you should have saw Henley's face this morning, Doug.
And Hendrix.
They're so proud of themselves because they know that they then quote unquote earned this, like any prize they want out of this box. And so you're teaching your kids such great, valuable lessons right from the get-go. I'm very, very thankful for this whole sleep training. And honestly, if we weren't planning on having another,
they've learned if you act bad enough for long enough, eventually
you get toys just for sleeping.
Toy box filled with things so you can act normal.
No, but if we weren't having another, I probably wouldn't push like the independent sleeping thing because
I would.
I know you would, but I would probably just sleep in their bed and I wouldn't push it because they do grow so fast. And a lot of people are saying to me, just enjoy. And this is another thought too, is like, if you're able to just enjoy the cuddles, it doesn't last forever. But man, a few years of getting no sleep is pretty detrimental for a child and for adults, but a child in particular, like our kids, they'll go to bed in their own bed, and then every single night wake up to come to our bed. That means every single night they're getting interrupted sleep. And that is so detrimental for their learning, for their health. And so
I feel like that, I don't know, is that genetic? Because I feel like I don't.
Well, no, everybody wakes up every single night.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think
and taking care of baby,
full night's sleep I can't remember the last time I got a full night's sleep, actually.
Here we go. So a sleep topic that I learned from taking care of babies, but also some research that I did just on sleep in general, is that we all, and just as a nurse, I learned this in nursing school, we all wake up all the time, every single night. But when your surroundings are the same, and this is another reason why it's important not to be like rubbing your child to sleep until they fall asleep or being right by their side, because then their surroundings are different when they wake up, and then they're looking for that hand. Why is it not there anymore?
That's why Henley used to run out crying every time.
So their surroundings are different. We're no longer there. And that's why it's really important to try to get it to where their surroundings are the same exact when they close their eyes from when they wake up throughout their sleep cycles throughout the night. And then when they're able to do that, they're able to, instead of like waking up in a jolt and scared and running and rushing off to a room, they're able to just wake up, realize, oh, yep, my stuffy's still here and the nightlight's still on and I'm safe. And they just like quickly fall back to sleep, and they're able to get into a deeper sleep and a more sound sleep. So there's seriously scientific like evidence that this is very, very important for your children. And some people, when they co-sleep, of course, then that is just as effective. But if you're trying to do the whole sleep training thing, and you're like, it's just most beneficial if you're not in their room when they're falling asleep. So yeah, Doug's like telling me to wrap it up. I've been researching this a lot, and I'm pretty passionate about it, if you can tell. But one thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was mostly, so I got an email the other day, and it kind of like took my breath away, because my grandma passed. As you know, if you've been listening to the podcast or following me, my grandma passed, and I went up there. And then my friend Sarah passed. And so then I got this email, and my friend Trisha, who has been on the podcast, and we recorded a segment with her for when we were on our road trip last year. That never.
Yeah, she met us out in
Idaho. Yeah, she was living in Idaho. She met us out there, and
I fixed her car.
Yeah, and Doug fixed her car. Long story, but we have all this content that we haven't shared from the RV road trip. I mean, there's a ton of content that we haven't shared because we have just been literally moving from state to state, starting our kid in school, all the things. And
but Trisha Taylor, she was a mom, she was a blogger, she was a friend to the show, and Jamie had spoken with her a lot. She suffered from Osteogenesis Imperfecta, which is a brittle bone disease. And think about this, by the time we talked to her, which I believe was like in 2019 or
2021.
2021, she had broken 600 bones.
I mean,
600 bones, 7 surgeries. She was 2 feet, 10 inches. And defied all odds and had a baby.
Yeah, her story is remarkable. We're going to link it below. So, back it up a bit, Doug, because first of all, they say everything comes in threes. And I never really believe in that kind of superstition stuff, but, my grandma passed and Sarah passed, and no joke, Trisha texted me and said, I'm so sorry to hear about Sarah. She knew that I was close with Sarah. She knew that I, met up with Sarah also on the road trip. And, oh God, it's just like really, really heartbreaking because, we were just talking like usual. She texted me telling me that she has, she had a new boyfriend with her son, and she was really happy.
Was she married?
She was married, but then she was married to her son's father, and then was going through a pretty nasty divorce. And then
when we met her on the RV trip, she was with a new guy.
Yeah, she was dating someone new and really happy with this person. And unfortunately, I got an email just a little while ago, like I couldn't even talk about it on Instagram or anything because I'm like, it's just too much hurt. It's just too much loss. It's just like unfathomable. And it's also odd because I haven't seen her in person in a year. We've only really been texting or, messaging on Instagram.
Yeah.
And it's odd to lose a friend who you haven't, like Sarah and I saw each other frequently over the past year. And so that's like a different type of pain and a different type of loss. But then when you lose someone that you don't know anyone else in there, like, I mean, I know Sarah's friends. And so I'm able to talk to them and see how her son's doing and, and I don't know, but it's hard. And I don't know if anyone else can even relate to this because it's such an odd situation. But
you build a rapport with somebody that's out of state.
Yeah. And like a connection with someone online really a lot or at least through technology. Like we did get to meet and I'm so thankful for that. A lot
of people nowadays, especially, with how easily you can communicate with people
online.
And especially, you go to college, you go back home, you still have friends that you've shared life experiences with and people that you got close to. And, thankfully we have some technology that allows you to stay in touch, but
so then if you're not part of a crowd with, like Trisha, it was just Trisha and I, it wasn't like there was a crowd of us. And so it's not like I could not like a friend of a friend could be like, hey, this is what happened. So thank God, someone, I think it was her cousin said, I know that you were friends with Trisha and I wanted to let you know that, she's had an accident and she's on life support. And I was like, what? And, I looked back at our conversation was literally like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, she was going through something hard, but I was like, stay positive. Like you got this. And the last thing she was posting on Instagram was that she was on a great trip and she was like drinking and I don't know, like everything seemed fine. And so then I got another email saying that she has like passed away. And it's the strangest thing to lose a friend that like, it's so hard. It's the strangest thing to lose a friend who I have like no one else I can talk to about it. Like we don't have mutual friends. And so it's been an odd kind of grieving process for me. Like I've just kind of you're so alone in it. Like there's no one, like you're just very, very alone.
And without that person reaching out, we wouldn't have known.
Yeah. And I wouldn't have even known her. No, there's no indication on her social media because of course, I'm not sure anybody has a login for it. Like, I don't even know, like, do you give it any indication? Like, it's just the most bizarre thing. And that leaves me to think, like, should I even be sharing this on the podcast if there's no indication on her social media?
No, I think that it's, we're paying an homage.
Well, that's the thing. So I know this is the truth of the matter is that I know, and I've had like this guilt nagging over me that I haven't shared or like honored Trisha since she's passed. I know that Trisha really wanted her story to be shared. She specifically met with me, wanted me to share her story, even on the RV trip. She was really looking forward to that. And it really breaks my heart that I feel like I didn't do that justice for her. Like I haven't shared anything from the RV trip, let alone her story. And so now she's not here. And I feel like the one thing that I could do for her that she would be thankful for is to share how brave she was, how strong she was, like how she wouldn't let anything stop her. I feel like I'm going to cry.
I mean, even the way that, so if you picture this, and she's a disabled woman. She's got, how old was her son?
So I think he's 7 now.
So 7, so maybe 6.
And this is just heartbreaking.
And just regular normal size. And, we're on this RV trip and we pull into Idaho and she meets us and, she's wheelchair bound.
Yes.
And she has a specialized car that she wheels into and is able to drive.
This woman didn't let anything stop her.
Is able to mother, her 6-year-old who's like running around but has a special spot on the back of her power chair that goes around. We met, we ate at a restaurant. We had a nice conversation. I picked her up into the RV, placed her down.
Doug literally carried her into our RV because
we had to. We didn't have a
there's
lift
no
or anything.
Ramp or lift or anything. So Doug and she's so trusting. She trusted Doug to carry, and she has brittle bone disease. So the fact that she was able to trust us. I mean, I also lifted her from like her chair to her, what was it, like her bed or something like that, just to help her like scooch into it. But like usually she could do that herself, but I don't know why I had to do it that time. But in any case, like she was a force to be reckoned with. She wouldn't take no for an answer. If she had her mind on something, she was going for it. She was going to achieve it. And I remember back in, I think it was 2021, when she emailed me and she told me her whole story about how she basically told me that she wanted to be on the podcast and that she was a fellow mom and she's a blogger, and she just shares like the difficulties, but also the blessings of being able to have had a child she defied all odds. I mean, the doctors told her, do not have a child. It will kill you. She had a child, and it put a
huge wedge in the relationship with her parents, because there was a good chance that she would have, there was a very high risk chance of her conceiving and giving birth, and the health implications of that
could kill her. And so her family just wanted the best for her. Yes. And she just wanted to live life like a normal person. And she was doing absolutely everything in her power to live life as normal as quote unquote normal, like with, a fully functioning body. Or I don't even want to say fully functioning, because I don't want to.
Well, I mean, it was, she really took life by the balls and ran with it. I mean,
interesting way to say that.
But. Well, I mean, it's inspirational in the sense that, she had so many things against her. Like, there was so many chips stacked against her, and she just plowed through all of the norms, all of the stigmas.
All of the stereotypes. She just
knew
changed
she was
it.
a disabled woman, but she just didn't picture herself that way. And she just wanted, she didn't see it as something that would hinder her in any way. And I think it's really courageous and inspirational, and, rest in peace.
Yeah. And
Trisha.
So I wanted to share, I don't even know. I just wanted to share a little bit from our previous podcast with her. I just want her to be able to
have a voice.
Yeah. I know that she really wanted to connect with others, and she really wanted a chance to be heard. And I know that the same thing with Sarah. And I feel like I haven't done enough to honor Sarah either. Like, I would like to, she was never on the podcast, but we did film a YouTube video together where she talked about her ovarian cancer. And so I wanted to just take a couple minutes to share some very profound things that both Trisha and Sarah have said. And I wanted to just honor them and keep their memory alive, let their voices be heard. Just because you're gone, because they're gone. I mean, if they were sitting here with me and I knew this was like their last day, I would want them to know that just because they're gone, they're never forgotten, and that their lives mattered, and that we're still talking about them, and that they touched, if nothing else, they touched my life. And I hope that they can touch your life as well. These were remarkable women. And the oddest thing that I realized tonight when we were eating dinner was that I became friends with each of them pretty much right before the road trip. So like, I've been friends with each of them for less than 3 years. And it's odd when, I'm like the most transparent person saying that I'm looking for friends. I make friends with two women that I don't expect to die. And then now they're just gone. And it's just, I was looking at Sarah today, like just pictures of her, and it's like, I was just with her. I was just talking to her, and now she's just gone. Like, it's just really wild.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that both of them had a whole lot to say and wanted to live a whole lot more in this life. They did not want to go, neither one of them. They were fighting hard to be here. And that just leads me to think like about you and I, like how every single day we wake up and it's almost like we take it for granted, It's like, oh, gotta go to work again today, and oh, gotta do this again. And it's like, why don't we smile and be thankful that we have like able bodies where we can walk ourselves to work, where we can, run and chase after our kids, where we can, the fact that we're healthy, we're strong, we're not facing any issues. Like, it's so easy to kind of just, I don't know, go down that despair moment, especially if you're struggling with anxiety and depression. But man, I'll tell you what, like meeting Sarah and Trisha, it has put everything into perspective for me. And the fact that Trisha, she really passed just so suddenly. Like this, I don't even know what happened. I guess they said an accident happened. I have no details, but I don't know what happened. She was on life support. I know that she wanted to be an organ donor. And so her final last wish, like her last thing was that she was able to, I think, donate her kidneys. And I'm just like sitting over here hearing this in an email, and I'm like, I can't even believe she's gone. Like, I don't even believe it, because it's not like I did see her recently. And like, we always talked via like text and stuff. So it's not even like I heard her voice. And it's just like, it's very hard to comprehend. But I'll tell you what, one thing I do know is that I am trying my darndest not to take a second for granted. Like when I was playing with my kids last night, I literally just stopped, and I was like, Hendrix was like hugging me, and I just like closed my eyes and like, just cried, and just so thankful that I get to have my kids and I get to be with them and to watch them grow, because I have 2 friends who have little boys and they don't get to do that. So while it's difficult, the whole sleep training thing and just parenting is hard, man. Like,
or your dog running in and out of the podcast.
No, not that. But man, it's like, just be thankful. Like, it's so easy to focus on the hard times that you're going through. But when you put those hard times into perspective and, you realize that the alternative to a lot of our hard times is just not being here. Well, that's not what we want. And how lucky we are to have these hard times, these difficulty challenges that we're going through. I mean, in a lot of ways, our difficult challenges are nothing in comparison to others. And so, it's just trying to be thankful for what you do have. And honestly, I even said the same thing to Trisha, and because she was going through a hard time. So I was like, stay in your gratitude, because that takes you so much further. And the last thing she ever said to me is, like, via text anyways, I'm going to look it up. Like, the very last thing she said to me was 100%, I'm very thankful and grateful.
Heart emoji.
And I said, she had just got a new home. So I said, congrats on the new home. You should be very, very proud of yourself. She said, I'm excited for sure. Very stressful though too, because it's all on me. I said, that's okay. You got this. I said, just stay super thankful and grateful. It gets you so far in life. And she said, 100%. I'm very thankful and grateful. Yeah. And her being thankful and grateful got her so far in life. And I just know that, that her legacy is going to live on. So,
yeah.
Without further ado, I just wanted to share a little snippet from her.
Like, if I wouldn't have tried to get pregnant, I wouldn't have fulfilled who I wanted to be. I always wanted to be a mom. So it was a piece of me always missing from me.
I fully understand that. I feel like a lot of women could definitely relate and understand that as well.
Yeah. And to that note, what is the best thing about being a mom?
It's hard because, you're the parent. You want to be the parent. But he's my little buddy. He's my little best friend. We do everything together. And I love just seeing the world through his eyes, seeing the excitement. Like when we go to the museum or we go, the aquariums or whatever, or even at home, you see something cool. Like just seeing things from his eyes, I think would be my favorite. And I have an excuse to do the childish things like playing buddies. Like no one's gonna judge you because you're a mom. Like it's okay.
Yeah, no, I totally agree too, because it's true. Like when you have a child and like the small things become so like amazing, like the world just becomes such a brighter, happier, lovelier place without a doubt.
We've asked this to several moms too. What have you found is the hardest part, even going through as soon as your son was born? What was the most difficult part to the journey that you're on up until now?
I would say it goes back to coming back to my condition. It's not so much of parenting that's been held, but like if I'm having a day where I'm having a lot of bone pain or a big fracture, something like that, is I can't just go take a nap. I can't just go lay in bed all day. Like I used to lay in bed for days if I wanted to, because when I wasn't working, that's just what I could do. And now he needs me. He needs breakfast. He needs lunch. He needs dinner. He needs entertainment. He needs sports here or there. He needs something at all times. And I'm mom. And like I said, my husband looks that hours, so it's on me. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions that I think people think is like that I have all these help, that I had taking care of my son. It's been 90% on me when it comes to the daily tasks for raising him.
Yeah, I mean, that bond is something that you'll have forever, and it's the most incredible bond ever. And I think you're setting such an example for him, especially with the time and energy that you're putting in. And, it really does become about the kids at that point. And, anything that's happened before, any relationships, things like that, when you see your kids smile or having fun, it's like all of that just sort of wastes away, when you're living in the moment with your child.
Trisha.
100%.
Yeah, Trisha, it was so great to have you on and to chat with you. I hope to get to know you more and more. I am totally cheering you on. And
Thank you.
I just love your positive mindset and the way that you admit, of course you have frustrations, we all do, but somehow you're always able to spin it around and just stay strong. And man, the perseverance inside you is just so inspiring. It really is. Like you set your mind to something and girl, you do it, which is really, really incredible. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out to come on Hot Marriage Cool Parents. We adore you.
Thank you for hanging with us today.
Yeah, and thank you so much for supporting. I mean, just what I wanted to say really like at the end of this is that if you could send out positive vibes and prayers for 2 little boys, one's named Maven, and that's Trisha's son, and she was very, very close with him. And oh golly, my heart just breaks. Like I'm gonna hold myself together here, but if we could send out prayers and positive vibes for Maven, because now he's with his father, and she was she was his she was the sole provider for him, and now he's with his father, and I know that she would love to know that he's getting prayers and positive vibes. And also Trent, Sarah's son, who they did live together, and
he's in kindergarten.
Yeah, but he's obviously missing his mom. Like he also saw his mom every single day.
Yeah.
And so, I can't imagine what these little boys are going through, just losing their moms. And I wish I could do more. I really do. But the best thing I think we could do for them is to pray for them and to uplift, like just send positive vibes to them, and to just be, really, really, I think both of like Trisha and Sarah would say to just, first of all, Sarah would tell you, listen, if you're having a hard day and you need a drink, go ahead, just have a drink. I get it, but
have a drink, eat some Peeps.
And actually Trisha would say the same exact thing. I feel like both of them smiling down from heaven, like, yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
But like, you can have a hard day and that's okay. Yeah. But I guess for me, what I would say is, and for myself is, I know both those women wanted to be here and they're not here right now. And so every single day when I'm getting, I just keep that in my perspective, because you and I listening, like we are blessed to be here. We are blessed to have these quote unquote problems that we have.
Yeah.
And when you change your thinking about how you view these obstacles that are in your way, and you start looking at everything as a blessing, all of a sudden you have far less obstacles and far more blessings in your life. And so I just wanted to like end on that note. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and we'll talk to you next week.
Love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.